Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we just got a new Link monster, Doggerado. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out Doggerado. So this card is called Doggerado, the Moving Stone Relic, and we're actually going to be getting this card in Alliance Insight. I'm really excited to see what this card actually does, because this card is a Link 3 monster with 1,000 attack points, which is actually really interesting, but it does have those two downwards pointing arrows, so this card can be really cool. So let's go ahead and see what this card actually does. So this card actually is a Link 3 Earth Rock Link monster, which is really interesting because I don't think we have that many Rock Link monsters. And this card has 1,000 attack points, and its arrows are the top arrow and bottom left and bottom right arrow, which is pretty interesting because I believe that's Decode Talker arrows, which is really cool because it does have two downwards porting arrows. But this card takes 2+ materials, including a rock monster to make this card. So right off the bat, that could support decks like Magnet Warriors, Adamantipator, and other rock decks like that. Even Fossils, which could be really interesting. And this card has two effects that you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. For the first effect, if this card is special summon, you can actually target a rock monster in your graveyard, and this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. Okay, we can make this absolutely massive. Okay, this card can be absolutely massive on your side of the field, because there's some very high attack point rock monsters in the game, like Valkyrian, the Magnum Warrior, and Imperium Magnum, which actually comes out at 4,000. So you can summon this card out to your side of the field as a 5,000 attack point monster, which is insane if you have Imperium Magnum in the graveyard. But if you just have a copy of Valkyrian in your graveyard, you can just target Valkyrian and make this card go to 4,500, which is insane that you can just summon out a Link 3 in any deck basically, as long as you have rock monsters in it, which is absolutely insane because fossils are splashable in a bunch of different decks. It's actually pretty good, but you're probably just going to play this inside of Adamantipator with that first effect. But it does have a second effect. For the second effect, during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can actually target one other monster on the field with attack equal to or less than this card's. This card loses attack equal to that monster's, and if it does, destroy that monster. Okay, so it's actually a pop, which is really good that this card is actually a pop, and it can get massive. Even if you put a card, basically if you target a monster, like a copy of Valkyrian in the graveyard, and boost this card all the way up to 4,500, and then say your opponent has a monster has 2,000 attack points on their side of the field that you want to be able to pop on the field, you basically just use this card as an interruption to be able to pop that monster, and this card will drop down to 2,500, but you still have a really big monster on your side of the field, which is really nice. Overall, really good card for rock monsters, and it gets massive. Even if you don't use it as a pop, this card can help you OTK your opponent, and it's really nice for decks like Adamantipator, Fossil, and Magnet Warrior, because you can use it in any of those decks because they're all rock based decks. But it's a really cool card overall, and I really like this card. I can see this being played in Adamantipator, because you do have cards like Dragite and even Raptite that could basically boost this card up to like 3,200 with your copy of Raptite coming out at like 22. Your copy of Dragite comes out at like 3k, so you can boost this card easily up to like 4,000 in this deck, or in those decks, which is amazing. But I think this card is going to see the most play inside of like Magnet Warriors, to be honest with you guys, because it's going to get so huge in Magnet Warriors, and it's so easy to put 3 monsters on your side of the field in Magnet Warriors to be able to summon out this card to your side of the field and go in for those plays, because it doesn't specify that you actually have to use effect monsters, which is really interesting. So you technically could use the original Magnet Warriors because they're rock monsters, which is really cool about this card, and it's a really interesting card that comes out absolutely massive to your side of the field by just targeting a card in the graveyard like a copy of Valkyrian, boosting this card up to 4,500 so you can go in for game. It's just absolutely insane, and I love the artwork as well, and it's just such a cool card overall to be able to summon out to your side of the field to basically help you OTK your opponent and also pop a monster on the field. Even if this card does lose some attack points, you're still going to have those effects to basically just make this card absolutely massive, and you can even splash this in multiple multiple different decks, especially if you're playing Fossil, because Fossil are rock monsters, and this card just has to have a rock monster included in the link summon. So it can be a rock monster plus any 2 other monsters that you want to use to be able to make this, which is actually really cool because you can splash Fossils into a bunch of different decks to basically just use them so that you can go in for game. And then the Fossils can also fuse with the cards that are in the graveyard, which is just insane to be able to do. And I love that about the Fossil archetype. So this is actually a really cool toolbox card for a bunch of different rock decks and a bunch of different rock engines as well. And I really, again, love the artwork of this card. It looks really, really cool overall. And it's just an awesome card. This card is really nice. And we're going to be getting this in Alliance Insight as well. Like I've said in previous videos about cards that are coming in Alliance Insight, this set is going to be absolutely insane, because we're getting cards like this, we're getting new evil heroes, we're getting Adignisters, and we're getting some awesome cards overall. Even the new Dragon Rulers are coming out in Alliance Insight. So this set is really stacking up to be one of the best sets of the year, because there's so many good staple cards that are helping out so many different archetypes that are going to shake up the meta. And overall, this card I don't think is going to shake up the meta, but it is going to help decks like Adamantipator overall to be a little bit more like OTK based, because they can make insane fields, but they don't make anything that's really high attack points on their field. So this is actually really nice to have a monster that you have as a utility card to basically make extremely easily, because basically just putting one Adamantipator monster on your side of the field instantly gets you 2 monsters on your side of the field, because that Excavate 5, summon 1 out to your side of the field, and then all you have to do is have 1 extender on top of it to basically just go in for this card. And then you can boost this card up to a bunch of different attack points depending on what you have in the graveyard, just to help you get a big monster on your side of the field. And also use this card as an OTK piece, and even just as a disruption. I could definitely see this being a part of the inboard for Adamantipator as well, because it does have that effect that regardless basically of this card's attack points, as long as it has higher attack points than a monster that you want to pop on your opponent's side of the field, you can basically just use this card's effect. And it's really easy to boost this card up, because even if you have something like in the graveyard that only has like 1400, let's just use that for an example. And so you have something in the graveyard that has 1400 attack, 1500 attack, and your opponent special summons out a copy of Castor Unicorn or Fenrir, you can basically just use this card's effect to pop the copy of Fenrir or Unicorn that your opponent instantly summons out, because it is a quick effect to be able to pop it. And I love that it's actually a quick effect just to target a monster, target one other monster on the field with attack equal to or less than this card, and then this card loses those attack points and you destroy it. The only thing I wish this card also did is, since it does lose those attack points, I wish it floated into another rock monster, which would be really cool to help you just revive a rock monster from your graveyard and put it back on your side of the field, so you could basically just replace this card, because it is a little bit of a commitment to go in for a Link 3 monster, and I really wish that it would actually float into another card. But overall, really cool OTK piece, and overall fantastic card, very interesting for rock support. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this card down in the comments down below. And tell me what you guys are going to be playing this card in. I really think it is interesting, though, that this card does just require a rock monster plus 2 monsters. So you can splash it into a bunch of different decks. You could even use it with, like, Nibiru, because Nibiru is a rock monster, which is really cool that you can actually use it with that. And that's something else that's really cool about it, is if you have a copy of Nibiru in your graveyard, even if you don't use it with a copy of, say, Valkyrian, Imperium Magnum, or even Dragite, something like that, you can use it with something like a copy of Nibiru to boost it up to 4K, which is really insane. So once you use your copy of Nibiru, or you get Nibiru used on you, you can basically link it away to make this, which is actually really, really cool to be able to use this in a bunch of different decks. Even if you get Nibiru, you could actually tech this into a bunch of different decks as well, which is really cool, which is an entire other topic about this card, that you can basically just tech it into anything, because if you play Nibiru, if you have a lot of extra X space, you could still play this card, which is really, really cool. So that's going to do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely comment down below what deck you're going to be playing this card in, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.